Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.arganissima.com. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our...
Folks, welcome back to the iHealth channel, iHealth Radio, with your host, Hurricane H. As always, new day, new show, new topic, and new guest. Today, we're in the topic of motivation, the topic of live coaching, with actually a live coach who has tremendous background in how to help people. And today's actually topic really is like, we can't change your history, but we can certainly give you a better future or help you get a better future. I think that's going to be our element today. And for folks who are watching or listening, let's pay attention to this particular show because it can literally change our lives, period and out. I am looking forward to it with our guest today. And I know that anyone listening, watching at any given time in their life probably had done something or met somebody and wondered like what would have been, you know, the outcome if something else had changed in their lives one way or the other, whether you as the listener or somebody that you encountered. And that leads us to our, guest today, Frank Williams. He's a life coach. But that's not what he always did in his life. He did a lot of things, and one of them being in the correction system. And he's going to tell us about a story. And something happened, or maybe many things happened in that particular life that really changed his path, and he took a turn, and it became a lifesaver. I would call him a lifesaver. So Frank, welcome to the show, and thank you for being with us today. And I'm going to lead with one question first, as we kind of played a little bit here.
Sure, go ahead.
What motivated you to become a life coach? And then tell us about your story, because I know it's deep.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Two questions I get asked often are, what inspired me to be a life coach, to become a life coach, and to become a motivational speaker? It happened during my tenure as a correction officer. What inspired me to be a life coach was the floor I was assigned to was where we housed all the inmates that were in for manslaughter or murder. And one day while on duty, I was standing in the lobby, and two inmates came off the elevator. One gentleman stood about 6'4", about 250 pounds. The other gentleman stood about maybe 5'5", 135 pounds. And the big guy, I was just very muscular, and he was very, very agitated and very angry. And I knew right away I had to get this gentleman back into his housing area. So I went over to the control center, and I knocked on the window, and I motioned to the officer inside to open up the Sally Port gate. Now, the Sally Port is a small area that you have to step into, and the Sally Port gate has to close behind you before the gate to the inmate housing area opens up. Mm. So the three of us step into the Sally Port area. The gate closes behind us, but the gate to the inmate housing area doesn't open up. And I could see this big guy just getting angry. The rage was unbelievable. So he's talking to the other inmate, and he's just cursing up a storm. And I could see him clench his fists. And he says to the other inmate, he says, "I don't care what they do to me. There's nothing else they could do to me." He says, "I'm going to kill somebody else." And I knew it was coming. He had his head down, and he looked at me, and he pointed to me, and he said, "I'm going to kill you." The next thing I knew, we were face to face. The rage in this man that I saw in this man's eyes was unbelievable. I was a rookie at the time. I'd never seen anything like this. So I knew I had to stay calm, and I had to try and control the situation as best as possible. So the stare down seemed like forever. Now behind me, I have steel bars. To the right of me, I have a thick concrete wall. To the left of me, I have steel bars, and behind him are steel bars. But like I said, it seemed like forever. The stare down was unbelievable. Physically, he was there. Mentally, he was gone. The rage was unbelievable. Having studied the martial arts for many years, I saw an opening. And I said to myself, you have to control the situation. but you have to count to three. But at three, you have to act. So I started to count. I went 1, 2. I don't get to 3. And the other inmate squeezes in between us, pushes the big guy back and says, "What the heck do you think you're doing to Officer Williams? He's the only officer that's treated us with respect." He says, "Now you apologize to Officer Williams before I kill you." So the big guy comes over with his head down and he puts his hand out and he says, "Officer Williams, I'm so sorry." No sooner does he finish those words that the gate to the inmate housing area opens up. The both of them step inside, the gate closes, and that was the end of the situation. But what surprised me was the rage that was in this man's eyes. It was absolutely unbelievable. But I thought about this situation for a while after it happened, and I couldn't help but think about how this man's life could have changed if someone or something had intervened at an earlier stage that could have shown him the positive side, that could have given him the resources or shown him the skills to make better choices in life. So I made a promise to myself that when the time was right, that I would become a life coach and try to help people change their lives. I got to see a side of society that many people don't get to see. And it's a shame how so many people make the wrong decisions. So that was the reason why I became a life coach, because this man ruined his life. He actually had just come back from court and was convicted of murdering 3 people. So he had 3 consecutive life sentences. So he had nothing to lose. I had everything to lose. But it was after that that I really took a hard look at that situation and just couldn't help but wonder how this man's life could have changed. But it also helped me because it helped me become aware of the things I had in life and how grateful I should have been. You know, we take things for granted. After that situation for years, I wake up every single day and I say, "Thank you, Lord, for giving me another day," because every single day is just another day of opportunity. It's an opportunity to find things, to grow, to make yourself better. So that was what inspired me to become a life coach. The second story as to why I became, what inspired me to become a motivational speaker was it had to do with another inmate. One of my responsibilities was to oversee the inmates' breakfast and lunch times. Now, I had some inmates that worked for me that actually served the food to the other inmates. So one day during lunch, one of the inmates that worked for me had gotten into an argument with an inmate on the lunch line. So I went over and I broke it up. And after lunch was over and all the inmates went back to the housing units, the inmates that worked for me were cleaning up. And I went over to this young man and I said to him, one of the things I said to him was, "If this happens again, I have to fire you." Hurricane, he looked me right in the eyes and said, "Officer Williams, I don't give a damn. I have 60 years to go." I was stunned. This kid was 21 and isn't going to see the outside of a prison wall till he's 81. I was just stunned. I just completed 21 years old and this kid ruined his life. Now, I never asked any inmates, it was none of my business what they did. But the one thing I did realize was if this young man committed a crime while he was intoxicated, he made that decision. If he made it under peer pressure, he made that decision. And if he was on drugs, he made that decision. But it was so unfortunate that this young man ruined his life. And I later found out that he was such an excellent football player that there was no question that he was going to go pro. So he destroyed his life. He made the wrong decisions. So because of that incident, it inspired me. I made another promise to myself that when I left law enforcement, that I was going to speak to every high school kid, every college kid, or any kid that would want to listen, to let them know that life is incredible. It's going to give you some rocky roads. Okay, that's just life. But if you have the right mindset, life can be incredible. It's all about how you use your mind that make things better. It's the perception of how we see things, how we decide to deal with things. And that was the reason why I decided to become a motivational speaker.
Wow. Wow. I mean, well, first of all, I have to say, it's listening to you right now. It kind of gives you goosebumps. The fact that you were in those situations,
Yeah,
and I know that being in the corrective, or correction rather, system as a correction officer. It's no picnic. I mean, I know I had a few friends who actually did that job, and it's a tough gig, and you got
it
to be,
sure is.
you're the meanest. You got to be the best at being tough, and also you have to keep the peace, right? It's not easy, and you're right. You're really. It's one thing to arrest people, and another one to live with them and secure them day in day out. And you're right. People can get and a lot of those folks, unfortunately, they might have nothing to lose. And probably a lot of them, they just feel that the end of the line is here, and therefore they can just don't care anymore.
That's
And
correct.
that's the most dangerous part about it. If people, the worst person you can ever meet, or the most dangerous person, is someone who doesn't have anything to lose. You know,
That's right. That's
and
exactly right.
if you're not
Yeah,
afraid of that, you're not afraid, you have nothing, behind to worry about, then you can do whatever, good or bad, actually.
that's correct.
You
No, that's true. And that big guy, he had nothing to lose. So
yeah,
he,
yeah.
he could have, that could have turned into a very serious situation.
Although when you think about it in a way, if he lived a decent life there, and there's a potential, even though with all these consecutive things can always be better. That's the thing, you never see that that's the end of the line. Maybe that's how it starts, but behavior can change things, and we've had a lot of different scenarios where that actually did happen, and people do have a better life eventually. It could be later on, but
That's correct. Right. And it just comes down to making that decision, to either want to be better or just stay where you are.
well, so Frank, I want to just retract. First of all, your decision of going into law enforcement and picking the correction, oh, that's a tough one. I have to say. I mean, it is really, you got to be bold.
Yes.
Is that what they call them? And the bold, New York's boldest or something? Is that what the
Bravest.
bravest? There you go.
That's it.
So you got to be bold and brave, right? And it's tough. I mean, you just can't, be a little.
No,
Nice and comfortable. You got to be
no,
tough.
you have to be tough, but at the same time, you have to show respect. You can't cross that line. You can't allow the inmates to cross that line. So if neither one crosses that line, then everything is fine.
Well, so yeah. I mean, I know you did that. You had the decision to do this because you wanted to serve and do something different, and really make sure that these people can get straight. I mean, really, it's a disciplinary type of concept, and gets them corrected. That's why it's correct,
Correct.
correction.
Right.
You correct their behavior, right? But we're laughing about it. But really, to go to that point, none of them probably ever thought that in a day they will be there. And I don't think anyone today, when they're born evil, or they're born into, like, I'm gonna grow up and do bad things and kill people and do stuff. Circumstances sometimes drive that.
That's correct. Yes. Nobody ever thinks they're going to wind up in prison, or, life is going to turn out harder than they thought. It could be the environment that you grew up in. It could be the decisions you make. If you think about it, everything that you and I have done up to this point in our lives has been based on the decisions we've made. We choose our career. We choose the clothes to wear. We choose what car to drive. I call it the 3 Ds: decisions, determine, direction.
Love
So
it.
it's just a matter of taking the direction, because you have to think about it. At what point in your life are you going to say, and when I have talked to my clients, at what point in your life are you going to be selfish and start thinking about yourself and doing what you want in life? And there's nothing wrong with that. But each individual is the author of their own life. The pen is in their hand. From this day forward, you and I will write the beginning, the middle, and the end. And it is my hope that everyone listening or watching at the end of their life looks back and says, wow, what an incredible story I wrote, and what an incredible life I lived. That's what I hope for my clients.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's actually very, very noble as a target, and I think everybody listening, watching would not disagree with that. They all want. I don't think of anyone imagine themselves having a bad life. People in general, they want to have everything that is good in this life, not the
Oh,
bad stuff. Unfortunately, there are, you said, a decision. You might hang out at the wrong place, the wrong time, maybe get a
Right.
couple extra drinks, you get excited, and by mistake, you push someone, you kill them, God forbid. And it happened. You get into a fist fight, boom, you shove someone, they get stabbed, whatever, they're gone. It could be just that. And that the mistake you make at that point is that you got a little bit too tipsy or too drunk.
And that
And
was
then
your decision.
exactly, and you said it earlier. And so but I want to just go back to just youth, because I love the idea that you said, like, you decide to go to every school and high school and college to kind of promote that idea, because that's where it starts.
That's
And
correct.
I really want to emphasize on the idea, because some people think that my environment, can determine who I am. And I want to clearly, at least in my perspective, that's not necessarily true. It might be challenging, because sometimes you can be in a poverty, you can be in a different circumstances. You grew up in a place that is really rough, and you have to fit into whatever. But you can always remove yourself from those situations. We're not forced to be anywhere that we were born. Uh, you know, it's just tougher for some than others, and that's true. But that's not an excuse to just go to the extreme. And it does happen, unfortunately. And we know, it happens all the time. I mean, you and I Jerseyans, and we just in New York City. I mean, the last couple of weeks, too many cops have been shot and things like that, and vice versa. A lot of people get murdered, or there's bad things that happen all over us, right? And but the people in general are not planning. They're not really made that way. Unfortunately, life can turn them to be that way. They can get harsh. They can be getting tough because of the circumstances, and typically we blame this. We blame society. We blame money. We blame poverty. My parents. I mean, obviously there is those elements that key, because I mean, your upbringing is important. Your environment. Your parents, and you can be in the worst environment, still your parents can actually get you tight. And we've seen a lot of good success come up from poverty to top, right?
That's
So
correct.
poverty is not necessarily the worst thing. I mean, it is bad. I mean, it's different when you don't have anything. I mean, you want everything. You see everybody having everything, and you just want to do that. And sometimes you want to do it quickly. That's usually where you get into drugs and other things, and it gets you in a mixed up places. But really, everybody, would, even people that have done something wrong, life has, to your point, there's today. Yesterday is gone. That's history. We can't do anything about it. The future is not set yet. You said it. You're in the driver's seat. You're the writer. You can write
That's
a new
correct.
page. And I mean, it's a joke. I mean, we hear that thing on the New Year's, New Year's Eve type of, like, tomorrow is a new day, new page
Right. Right.
in a new book, write it up, do a nice story. So same concept here. This is exactly it. Every day we can make differences. We can make changes for the better. And they're conscious decisions. I mean, to your point, if I do drugs, that's on me. Nobody forced me. If I talk to my kids the same way, because I've seen a lot of folks that are really brilliant. They, even in raising the best scenario, right, still turn to be doing bad, because they get one way or the other derailed, and they get mixed up with the wrong crowd, the wrong stuff, the wrong behavior, and the next thing they're doing bad. And again, it's a choice. We choose where we want to be. If you really want to be the best, you can be. No one's stopping you. And yes, it could be tougher for some than others, but at the end of the day, you can do that. And your mission as a life coach, to change the mindset, and that's a key word, mindset. Everyone sees things differently, and the way you adjust your mindset will determine your future and your outcome. And in your situation, when you were talking about that scenario with the two guys, and you got cornered in that little cage, right? I mean,
Right.
really, there was no way out. You're gonna fight your way out, or one way or the other. It's you or them.
Exactly.
But you know what you did there? You were ready, and I appreciate your martial arts, because I am one that's been
Oh,
martial
okay.
arts for 40 years. So I understand exactly where you were. At that point, you got a deal, right? And so you got to take what you need to do to make it work, and you have to subdue this dude no matter what. I mean, the size doesn't matter in actually martial arts. We can
Right.
handle
It
that, right?
doesn't. Right.
It's all about technique and stuff. No, it may be tougher with a different, size of, opponent, but you can still do that. I mean, there's you can see the best, martial artists. They can be short, they can be skinny, but they can really do damage. But, you didn't do it because you were, on the offense. You were more on defense, but now you had to strike. You got to make moves,
Right.
because if not, you had very little room and wiggle. But your behavior yourself with them is what drove that guy to say, you're a nice guy for us. You take care of us. See, you're tough. You're able to take care of business, but because you also didn't really look at these people like, they're garbage, they're bad, they're just, they were human. You did the right thing, and therefore that helped you. You could have literally been a worse. Sometimes even in martial arts, you could still lose, right?
You can still lose. Yes.
We train, to always do the right thing, but you never know. There's always someone better, and sometimes things can happen. But the best fight is the one that never happened. And
That's
this
right.
is your case. And it happened because your behavior overall with them was humane. You did the right thing for them. You were always taking good care of them. You're one of the better ones, at least from their perception. And therefore, the guy interceded for you and says, cool off. And then that got the bigger guy to kind of almost like remove his little, whatever, veil he had in front of his eyes, was kind of like, oh, damn. What am I doing here, right? So that changed it, but that's because of you, and that actually drives us to the discussion that everybody has that you in their life.
Absolutely.
It's like, it's amazing. You said, and I'm just like, you did something in advance, you didn't even plan, and it was there for you when you needed the most.
That's correct.
So that experience, was ultimately something that stuck with you. You said you were a rookie, so I'm assuming that's a few years back before you got out of the correction system. So, but that's the other thing when you're young too, right? I mean, you had that. We all have the energy at that age, and we're like, plus you have the authority, you have the power, and you know that once that buzzer is open, I mean, you got the troops coming in, and it's all good,
That's
right?
Right.
So, but really, but that doesn't justify you to be like always like looking at them down and being a tough one. They're doing the time, they're paying their dues to society, right? And you just still have to behave with them until it's done. And you did a good job, but that changed that person's, behavior. Because to your point, if you had behaved differently before, that guy would have probably done something, and maybe one of you would have, terminated, at that time. And that would have been, or at least bad, outcome, hospitalization, whatever can happen at that point. And that's not a cool thing, for either one, right?
Correct.
And so that behavior is something that happened to you in that system. But in real life, we have this all the time. We do right, like we say, karma in general. If you do good, you'll find good. And so no matter where you are, that good comes back, in ways you don't understand it. And that's exactly what people have to always remember. That first of all, you plant seeds, and those seeds will always be there for you. 1, 2, you need to plan correctly your life, and don't look. You said mindset. Don't look at bad things. There's some people tend to focus on the ugly or the bad.
That's right.
Like the word is like it's out there to get me. But no, that may be 1%, but the 99% is beautiful out there. So just focus on what's good and great versus what's bad. And if you did that, no matter what your circumstances are, your life is going to be better. And one thing, and I know you want to say something, but one thing that I do want to just speak of is that we live in the United States, right? As harsh as it sounds in some of the surroundings and environments we have, it's nothing compared to some parts of the world.
Correct.
I mean, there are people who have much, much less than what we have here, period and out. I mean, that's why, immigration and stuff, everybody wants to be here, right? Because in other places, you're talking about poverty, there's levels of poverty people cannot even comprehend, right? So there's environments that are even more dangerous than what we have here. But, people try to do better for their lives, and they do whatever it takes, education, immigrate to someplace, whatever the case may be. And they look for that better thing, opportunities to have a dream, to follow that dream, setting goals. I know we're going to talk about that today. And that's a big thing. And, that's a behavior that's from early on, but it could be also something that you can learn later on.
Correct.
So now you help people today changing and shifting their mindset.
That's correct. Yes.
So what are some of the challenges that you find today when you talk to someone? What would be like some of the worst things you hear, like, where people are like, really like, I'm done. Life doesn't work out for me. I can't do this.
When I hear something like that, my first question is, why do you say that? If you think about it, approximately 85% of the thoughts we think are negative. If that's the case, then how can we possibly hope or even think to accomplish anything in life? Think of your mindset as a computer, okay? Or if you put the software in that's programmed to give you doubt, fear, and uncertainty, what do you think is going to show up in your life? Doubt, fear, and uncertainty. But here's the great part. If you put in the software that's programmed to give you victory, strength, and courage, what do you think is going to show up? All three of those positive things. We have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Conscious mind, we're aware of things. Okay, so I see you're wearing a blue shirt that says Hurricane on it. So I put that in the back of my subconscious mind. The next time I see you, I'll say, oh, he wore that shirt the last time. Everything that we believe goes into the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not argue with us. It doesn't negotiate with us. It just agrees with us. So if you're going to put that negative stuff in your head, that's what's going to come back the next time. For instance, you have somebody that's tried to lose weight so many times. The subconscious mind is going to say, well, you tried it so many times, you failed. But it's trying to find out what they did in the past to make things better. And if you look at it, it seems like a vicious cycle. They do the same thing over and over again. I tried to lose weight. Okay, did you succeed? No. The next time, you tried it again. They did the same thing. So it's changing the pattern, it's changing your thinking that's going to get you to become successful.
It's amazing because what you're talking about is something that I live with. You know, I am like so positively contagious, not even funny. And I'm talking about me. I do it to myself, meaning that I constantly look for anything that is positive in terms of inspiration, motivation, quotes, whatever, books, reading, good role models, successful stories, because that's what keeps me going. I mean, there's so many sad things happening in this world, and there's so many bad things that are happening all the time. But I try to always see the positive in any negative situation. I try to see the positive in every single thing that we have in life. Like I make a joke that sometimes people don't really get well, but even in I see positive even in that, and believe it or not, I have a different approach about what that is, right? And so people look at you like, really? That is something that we're going to have to go through no matter what, right? So I already accept the fact that it's happening. That's the one thing that's certain in life is that. Right. It's amazing how it's ironic it sounds, right? But, it's like it's guaranteed. But, if you understand what that is, and you set yourself into a mode that it's happening regardless. So now you don't have to worry about it. Now you have to live your life correctly, and you enjoy the best of it, and you want to keep a legacy, and you want to do good things. And so at least when you depart this world and go to the next one, you were contributing good, positive feedback to everybody around you. I mean, again, this whole thing that we're doing now is almost that same mission, right? To help people be better. But that's the key. You're right. People sometimes, they just have this, they feed themselves. I am a loser. I can't do this. But sometimes it's not even their fault. They're surrounded by people that always blaming. Oh, come on, you tried this before. What are you going to do this? And a lot of people, sometimes they don't want you to succeed. That's another reason it happens, because they're not doing it themselves, and they don't want you to be better because they're not able to do it. So therefore now, and on the flip side, if you actually do good for yourself, you can possibly contagiously be contagious to them, and hopefully help them. But that's the thing. If you cannot change yourself, that's the other change starts here. You are number one. I think one of the shows someone said we have to be selfish. And yes, you have to be selfish, because if you can't take care of you can't take care of anybody else, right?
Correct.
And so the first thing starts with you. You got to, cure yourself, and curing yourself here, not, physically from a disease, but from your thoughts. Your thoughts can be either good or bad. If you lean to the bad, forget about it. Everything is going to go bad, to your point. If you do all good, and that means you see positivity every day. I mean, I made a joke the other day. I had a show about a month and a half ago, and the show was a hypnosis, and it was a live hypnosis. And the theme was to get positive, to become positive and stay positive. So the whole hypnosis was to turn you more positivity. And actually, after the show, I got even, better at this thing. And I was like the next day I was like on fire. I mean, like, I want everything that is positive. But that's, how I want to be, right? That's just me. That's the choice that I make, but this choice is not unique to Hurricane or to Frank. I think that's a choice that anyone can make. And I think everyone wants that. The problem is they don't know how to go about it. Because sometimes they're just stuck and there's nobody else to support them. Today we have this platforms, podcasts, shows, there's a lot of stuff out there. Life coaches, you exist for a reason to help these people. But sometimes people don't reach out to that, right? They're not maybe, what do I need a life coach for? Well, if life is not working out, maybe you should listen to somebody else, get somebody else to help you, guide you. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So that's my take on the positivity, because I think that is a big deal in life. If you don't have that, you lose on life. You really are hurting yourself. And you said it yourself, subconsciously, the more you think about things that are wrong, that's just what's going to come up. It's there in the background. So question for you. Your approach, how is that specifically? How do you, gauge someone? Like, let's say if I came to you right now and I'm really struggling. I'm lost. And a lot of people are, unfortunately, because they're just, things happen, sometimes you lose your job, family matters, not, well, your kids are doing things, you're not happy, whatever the case may be. It's, you're stressed out at work. Stress can do a lot of that. Financially can impact you. And people sometimes cannot struggle or cannot juggle the struggle. They're really, locked into it. Like, oh my God, there's too many things going on. And by the way, this is not true. We all go through it. And I personally can say this personally here, live. I'm not perfect. I have my own problems and I have a lot of issues. And like everybody else, I deal with things daily. But what keeps me going is I keep the motivation and the inspiration together. And they're both two different components, as we had discussed the other day on a different show. But really, I put things in my mind to keep me inspired, and I try to get motivation from everything around me and everyone around me. Small, large, doesn't matter. I just take it. But people have that. So in your case, someone comes to you and they're just like completely out of it. What's your approach?
I'll give you a great story. I had a gentleman come to me one time. He was, I would say about 48 years old. And he asked me if I could help him stop smoking. He'd been smoking for 35 years. This man was down and out. He felt he couldn't do it. He tried the gum, the patches, hypnosis, the counseling, everything. He just couldn't do it. So I thought about it for a few minutes, and I said to myself, this could be a great challenge for me, but what a life-changing event this could be for this man. So we coached for about 3 weeks. We did it by phone and email. He calls me up. He's been smoking for about 35 years. He calls me up after the third week, and he asked me to go out to lunch. So we go out to lunch. We sit down. He leans over the table and he says to me, "We're done." So I paused for a second and I said, "Okay." I said, "But be proud of what you accomplished these last 3 weeks." He said, "Smoking is a very hard addiction, but be happy and proud of what you accomplished." So he leans back over the table and he says, "No, you don't understand it. We did it. I haven't had a cigarette in 3 weeks." He says, "I'm done with smoking." Now, out of curiosity, I lean over the table and I ask, how is it a man smokes for 35 years, has the patches, the gum, the hypnosis, the counseling, how is it that all of a sudden in 3 weeks, you decided that you quit smoking? He said, "It was because of the way you helped me believe that I could." Today, this man is smoke-free for 15 years. And all I did was change his thinking patterns. That's all. So it's a lot. Most of my clients, when they come to me, obviously, if they're down and out, there's a reason why. And you have to really get to the root of the problem, because sometimes people don't actually want to talk about it, but they have to talk about it. And obviously, I'm very professional. I treat it with a lot of respect. But I just want them to understand that if you get to the root of the problem, the chances of succeeding are so much greater. It may take time, but it's so great when I have a client who's down and out and we start building that foundation of success and confidence. And after a while, it is absolutely unbelievable to see somebody completely change their lives like this man did for not smoking for 15 years, or whatever it was. Yeah. So it's the way we think that's going to either make us or keep us where we are. It's not easy. Believe me, life is hard. Okay. It's going to throw you a lot of curveballs in life, but it's how you learn. Do you learn from those hard times? Because if you don't, then that's the biggest mistake. Okay. Because hard times are going to come throughout your life. That's how you decide to handle those or respond to those. That makes all the difference in the world. It makes those good times, the success times, that much greater. And the goal is not to eliminate every bad point in your life. It's just impossible. But what you want to do in the mindset is you want to eliminate as much negativity as you can. Believe me, I can teach you all about the mindset, but there are going to be times where the mindset just isn't going to work. But the great thing about it is if you understand the skills, it will help you with that situation. So if you learn from it, it's a great experience. It's a great experience. So once the mindset is changed and you start building that confidence in that individual and you see them grow, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And that's my reward. It's seeing these people, they start to smile, their body language, that they have more energy and they're ready to take on the world. All because I changed their pattern of thinking. That's all. And everybody could. I heard a great quote one time. It said, champions don't wait for things to happen. They make things happen. And Hurricane, let me tell you, everyone listening to this video or watching this video is a champion. You just have to bring that champion out from within. And once that champion comes out, forget about it. Life is going to be unbelievable. You're going to have tough times, but life, is going to be fabulous, fantastic, better than anybody could ever imagine. Better.
And I might add, first of all, thank you for saying that, because the mind is so powerful. It's not even funny. And we don't even use most of it,
Correct.
A fraction of what it's capable of. But you're right. You set it up. And once you said the key, life is going to throw a lot of curveballs, a lot of, hurdles and, everything at it that it has to you and at you. The problem is how you deal with that. And, if you're always down the, like, oh my God, what's going on? Well, my life sucks and stuff. Yeah, that's what you're going to get. It's like not, but you got to look at everything else you have. That sometimes it's as easy as that. You're talking. There are people that are unable to talk. You're walking. There are people that are unable to walk. You can, look, the pandemic came a couple of years ago now, and we're almost 2 years in the making, right? A lot of people, their life changed. It's families got devastated, right? So look at your blessings, count your blessings, as we say, right? You got a lot of good stuff to wake up for and be happy for. Don't look at just the bad things happen. It's gonna go. Every storm comes and goes. Storms are so you got to face them. You got to shelter from them. You got to figure out a way to get around them, but know that it will be better. There's when you're on the bottom, there's no way but up.
That's right. That's right.
So if you just settle to the idea that you have everything to gain, nothing more to lose, then you're good already. You start in a good place. That's what I use. That's my techniques for me. It works for me. I always look at it like what I have. I can be in the worst environment. Okay, so what's my best situation here? I'm in an island. Okay, so let's find some net. Let's do something. I don't know. I'm gonna go dive and fish, whatever. I'm just joking. But the idea is I always think about like, what can I do to make things better at this situation? You cannot change what's already happened or what's happening, but you can maneuver around it. You can manipulate it, or you can just learn from it and move to the next one. Today, okay, I can't do this one. You said it, the key word, champion. Everybody is a champion. Everybody. You're right. I believe in that firmly. And I thank you for saying that today, because I think for people watching and listening, you have this, you got this. No one, is in your seat except you. You write this, you got this. And that's something I've been reinforcing personally. And I say it all the time, is that you can do this. You and I are doing it. Other people are doing it. If one person can do it, you can do it too. So and by the way, everybody, I face debt like everybody else. You face, problems. We get situations all the time. We have families, we have issues, we have standard lives like everybody else. We're not special. It's just how we handle things, sometimes different. I can cry about things, or I can just like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about this. Let's move on. Next, tomorrow's a new day, a new beginning. As long as I have it tomorrow, I'm going to have to be pleased and happy, and I can make a new day, worth it. Now, is every day going to be a good day? Probably not. I'm in sales, right? And, we use this all the time. salespeople don't always have a super day. You can have a bad day, but your bad day, you have to gauge it to what is a bad day. A bad day having no sales or not doing anything, that's a bad day. But a bad day where I go and prospect and find new connection, maybe a few future referral sources, whatever, that's not a bad day. See, I got to look what I did in that day that makes it good or bad. Not so much what the bad day is. The definition of bad can be anybody's, you know. But I said the definition of what bad is, and so therefore I have to change that feeling, the way I think about it, and it makes a big difference. That's how when I started my career, that's exactly what I did. I wake up. How many people am I going to help today? You know, if I don't help people today, how many I'm setting to help next day, the following week, whatever. So I'm always, not today, today's over, but tomorrow is going to be double good business. I'm good. You know, so from a business perspective, it's the same thing in life. Today we have a tough time. Tomorrow, and then always look, sometimes we look at who has everything and has more. But dude, look how many people have less. See, don't compare, you know, sometimes we always look up like, oh, he drives a Ferrari, he got this, he's got that. Well, that's God bless. I'm not jealous, I'm not envious, right? I want to do that. Well, let's work towards that. That's fine. But then also, I don't have to do that. Who says that's the standard of living? Happiness doesn't come from what you have. It's from what you from the material stuff. Is what you make. You make your own happiness. If you are healthy, you know, people can be rich, but health fails them. What is the money going to do for you?
Correct.
Nothing. Right. You can have a great mansion, but it's empty. There's nobody there. You have no family. What's it going to do for you? You have fake friends. It's not going to do anything for you. So you got that good friend. You got that nice family. You got your kids. So look at your blessings. Look what you have. And by the way, I don't care what you believe in terms of religion. Blessings are blessings. We all know what those are. So I'm not talking about religious blessings, but I'm talking about just the fact of things that are for your favors that you have. You have them, count them, enjoy them. And you know what? Look at it. You know, every day that comes on. And by the way, we're alive. Many people may not make it. Maybe people didn't make it. You know, who, like, again, I mentioned the pandemic, people were healthy. All of a sudden, they're not here. I've lost a lot of friends. That was just sudden, boom. Today, I personally heard about a friend of mine who just passed, you know, I didn't even know. Was young, you know, vibrant, had everything that someone can dream of. Poof, gone. You know, but that's life, you know. So, you know, just know that tomorrow is not necessarily guaranteed, but you know what? It could be a bright future if it's there. And that's you can work and you can make that happen. That's my little 2 cents on the topic here, but really it works for me. You do this, you're helping people, and you said somebody that you help them 35 years cannot stop smoking. You just kind of changed the way he sees the smoking, how he feels about it, whatever you did to him, it was his decision to make the quit. And the patches didn't do the job because he still was not willing to. It's not about the patch, it's about whether you are willing or not. I have a friend, the same thing actually. He smoked for a long time, and we were in Pennsylvania, and the job required you cannot smoke to work. So that was the policy of the company. He stopped. He stopped. That was easy. The motive was very simple. If you want a job, you stop. He was able to stop. So again, motivation in Orange, comes from you. Like, you have to inspire yourself somehow, and there are things that come. So you look for those things that can help you. In this case, your client found you.
That's right.
And you did that for him. You changed his mind, and ultimately he's a happier, healthier. I mean, imagine now he's actually living a better life, no coughing. He's probably going to have no issues in his lungs, and he can enjoy his walking out, going out, dancing, whatever he's doing, his family. And you know what? That's something that is a blessing in itself. And in your case, you're helping a lot of people, and you're doing this for a living. So I want to ask the question, like, how does that really feel for you? I mean, because that has to be like some sort of a level of happiness that is beyond imagination.
It's absolutely incredible. Like I said before, when you have somebody that's just down and out, and you take them along with baby steps, okay, and that's what you want to do with some people. You just a little bit at a time, because what you want to do is you want to build that confidence, because that's where that's where it starts. Once you get that confidence, you realize how much more you can do. So with some people who are really down and out, you just take it slow with them, but they have to make the decision to be committed. They have to make the decision that they want to change, because there are many people that say they want to change, but they don't. Okay. So you as a person need to take responsibility for your life, and you have to make that decision. Yes, when I wake up tomorrow, I am going to take responsibility for my life, and this is what I'm going to do. Now, the unfortunate part is we all come across roadblocks, and sometimes we come across too many where we just feel hurt and we just feel tired and we just give up. But when you get an individual and you start showing them that they have the strength and the power to move forward, okay, they can go through any roadblock or anything tough that comes their way. As long as you have that commitment to move forward and be successful, those roadblocks, I look at the roadblocks as friends, okay, just telling you to try something different. That's all, okay? Don't stop because you have a roadblock. Knock it over and just keep pushing forward. If something didn't work, you try something else and you keep going. Hurricane, the easiest thing to do in this world is to quit, okay? Now, I'm not saying you can't quit, all right? But you only quit after you've exhausted every resource that you could possibly use. And let me tell you something, that's almost impossible, because if you want to accomplish something, there are thousands of people who have just accomplished the same thing. So never, ever quit on yourself. Never. There's no reason to. You take out those negative thoughts in your head and you just tell yourself, you are so much better. You are the champion and you are going to succeed. That's the bottom line. You let no one or anything get in your way. That's it. You have to have a game plan. You have to set goals. Okay, but take responsibility for your life. And what's great about responsibility? You control your own life. Success is absolutely incredible. And the thing about success is that it's defined differently by each and every one of us. So you get that client that's down and out, and you take those baby steps to start building that confidence. And once they build that foundation of confidence, forget about it. I had a client one time told me, she said, I never married in my life. She was 47 at the time. And I'm a fitness trainer as well. And when I first met her at the first consult, I said to her, when was the last time you did push-ups? She said, oh, I haven't done it since high school. I said, okay, we're going to start with push-ups. We're going to set a goal. And she wanted to lose 20 pounds. I said, okay. I said, after 4 months, our goal for push-ups is 75 push-ups off your knees, and we'll go for the 20 pounds. 4 months come along. Now, this is a woman who was down and out, okay? Needed to lose the weight, wanted to lose the weight, thought nothing. It was impossible to do a push-up, she said. I can't do it, don't want to do it. I said, well, you're with me, so we're going to do it. And all I did was take baby steps with her. After 4 months, she steps on the scale. Not only does she lose 20 pounds, but she loses 30 pounds. And I'll never forget the day when she did 75 push-ups off her knees. After she did the 75th push-up, she dropped her knees to the floor. She had her head down and she looked up at me and with this huge smile. And she said, Frank, and now listen to this, I never thought I could ever do something like that. And I told her it was just taking the baby steps to get there. What's the saying? Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's right.
Okay. Your goals are going to take time. That's why you set short, medium, and long-term goals and steps to take together. Anybody could do it. Anybody. I don't care how old you are. You may have to tweak some goals when you're older, but if you stick to believing in who you are, and it amazes me, and it happens to everybody, why would you not believe in yourself? Why? Give me one good reason. I can't tell you some of the reasons that people tell me. Oh, and they all talk about outside forces. Oh, it's happened to me and this happened to me. And that's when I come back with responsibility. Forget that stuff. Like you said before, the past is the past. You start right here, right now. So I tell my clients that tomorrow when you wake up, you look out the window and tell me what you see. So they come back and I said, what'd you see? Oh, blue sky. I said, no. I said, what you should see is another beautiful day of an opportunity or opportunities to make a better life for yourself. That's what each day is. You make yourself better than you were the day before. You talked about competing. Don't ever compete against anybody except yourself. Make the next day better than it was the day before. And if you keep doing that, what's going to happen? Eventually, you're going to achieve your goals. Great success. And it's defined differently by each and every one of us. And to see people achieve such great success the way they define it is absolutely, it's one of the best rewards I could ever ask for.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'm just like listening to you and I'm enjoying it. I'm like, I'm absorbing it. I'm just kind of like, wow. I mean, it's like you're speaking my language, dude. But it's amazing. You said keywords, success and stops, small steps, right? Every small step is a success in itself.
That's correct.
The fact that you just get into that first step, baby steps, it's okay. You said Rome wasn't built. I mean, you build a skyscraper, it starts with a hole in the ground.
That's right.
One little, fish in the ground, and then it goes deep, and now there's nothing, it's emptiness, and then all of a sudden you have this nice little, monument standing in front of you. That's the thing. Everything can happen. And the key word you said also that's powerful, when the lady stood up and said, a while ago, I could have never thought I would be doing this, or I could do this. See, that's the thought that a lot of people say, all the time. I can never do that. Actually, what I want to tell people is I can do everything that I'll put my mind into no matter what. That's what we should say to ourselves every day. Doesn't matter, even if it's fake, even if we don't believe in it, just do it. Say it enough, you'll believe in it. And then you will make the way towards it. And that's what I use too. Like, if I want something, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do whatever it takes. If I have to learn something new, and a lot of people I've heard in a lot of stories and different shows, whatever they set to go for, they actually go take the next necessary steps to get there. So you want to be this, you go get your education for that specific, specialty. You want to do this, you want to learn something about it, you can do something, get a coach, get someone to help you. Fitness, you get a trainer, whatever. You just can't, set a goal and not do anything. You're right. One small step, a day, one little extra piece a day. Today is, I do the same thing. Like today, I achieved one thing. I changed something on my system. Tomorrow, I want to do something about my lighting. The next day, I want to do something about my dress code. Whatever. I set up different things. And every day, like, what did I change? How am I doing compared to last week, last month, and last year? I mean, I make the joke about my station here because it started as just an idea. And slowly but surely, I watch my shows. I watch all the stuff. And 2 years ago to now, I mean, it's literally like day and night. And I'm not even halfway where I need to be. But the idea is that I keep looking to see like what's my progress, what am I today, and then I do have the vision of what I want to be in the future, but I know I'm not there, and it's going to take steps, and it's going to take money, energy, time, whatever. But that's the thing, you have to commit to it, and you're not committing to people, you commit to yourselves and to your right. I mean, as I'm talking selves as in my audiences, but we compete, we look at ourselves. That's who you owe the accountability to, and then your family, because you do impact people around you. And the
absolutely.
Other part, whatever is becoming of you is becoming of the people that are immediately around you and either looking up to you, like your kids, and or people that you impact. Regardless, you go to work and you're like always gloomy and whatever. Guess what? All your people around you is not gonna be. They're not happy.
That's right.
If you take it to work and you're always like you're miserable, you're gonna bring that misery to everybody, and people are not gonna be very pleased. They're not gonna like you. They're not gonna be happy. They're not gonna do anything for you. No favors. And they would love for you to get out, right? So your successes, you define them. As you said, no one has to define. I mean, success doesn't mean that I have, a private, plane. Success, that's a good success. I mean, I'm not against that. Please, if I can do that, I would love to do that. And why not? One day maybe, I don't know. but that's not necessarily, everybody's dream. My dream could be a small thing, and that's okay. It can be a small dream, but it's a big thing for me. Not everybody has to be, a surgeon, because some people, that's what they want. That's great. Not, someone wants to be an astronaut, and they want to go to space and go to Mars, whatever. It's okay. Everybody has their own target. You go after it. I always say, like, when I was a kid, I had the American dream. I am living the American dream, at least in my perspective. Maybe some people's like, well, what's original about you? Maybe nothing. In my world, it is.
Right.
I planned certain things and I delivered them. I mean, I worked towards them and I made them. That's me, and makes me feel good about it. Now I'm looking at the next step, next stage. I want to make, an impact and help and contribute and do something good, with to people. So whatever you set to go, you do. You said something about hurdles and barriers and blockades and all that. I always give the example of a river. And it doesn't stop because a mountain is in front of it. It just
It's
gets
a great
around it
example.
and moves around. I actually give the best example of rivers that I've enjoyed seeing literally in person is the Seine in France. And literally it literally goes like a serpent, serpentine, looking back and forth, and it goes up and come down, and it's just moving around the landscape until it finds its own way out. And that's exactly, nothing stops water. you know we got to be fluid and just make sure that we do it. And yes, you get resistant, you said it, just chip away. You can literally chip a whole tree one piece at a day. Eventually it's going to go. And that's exactly the point in life. And I think you're right, that lady with the push-ups. you know Today is one push-up, two push-ups, three push-ups, and then you keep building. And 10, great milestone, next 20, next stop. And then you keep doing, you keep tacking on. And that's exactly what we do in martial arts. You start as a white belt. You have no clue. You think you know everything when you're a white belt. You go in there and you're like, all over the place, and then boof, what happened? You're just like on the ground looking up. What happened? That's because you don't know everything, right? So, but you think you. But now you go to yellow, you go to the different ranks, and then even you get to the black belt, you just start beginning your life in a martial art, and now you get to the advanced stages, and you still learn. Never stop. And you can always advance to the next stage. There's no limit to how far we can go and how far we can become successful. But again, you're right. You're right. Your success, people listening today, watching, your success is yours to determine. If you want, I'll give you a good example. Someone who maybe, failed school, in early ages. It's not over. Not over. You can still, one of the best thing about this country is that at any given age, you can actually go back to school and get your education if that's what you want. If you want to become rich, you can. I'm not saying it's easy, but there are ways you can do that. And you can learn, you can get it, differently. You can become a business. There's so many ways, but it's you set it up. You don't have to say the worst thing you can do to yourself is say, I can't do it. I'm not able. Who am I to do this? Other people failed. Well, first of all, no one fails unless they stop. You said it. Don't quit.
Don't quit.
Why quitting? I mean, you don't quit. I mean, as long as what are you going to do when you quit? You're just going to look back and say, okay, I didn't do it. Now what? You're still going to do something. When we quit, we still got to do something. So might as well just keep up, just do more. And again, if this route is not, maybe I'll go left, I'll go right, I'll go up, but I have to find a way out. That's all. I mean, in martial arts, it's very, big where, you get caught in some sort of a struggle or grapple, you got to find a way, and there's always a way. So many ways, it's not even funny, but that's the same concept. So I really enjoy the discussions when I get fired up with really, anything with motivation, inspiration, and when I hear stories like where people can achieve things, there is no age, to your point earlier. There is no, I'm not even saying that it's difficult, because even at different age you can do something. I don't have to fly, but I can do something different. I can use, like yesterday I had a show about pickleball. you know I found out about it. Reason that I didn't even know that what it was, and I learned about it. But it's a good game. People can play it. Everybody can play it. Everybody can actually do the exercise. You don't have to like sweat it out, but you will definitely lose weight and you'll all have fun. So simple things. You have options. You have no limits.
None.
So Frank, we talked about the objective, the targets. We talked about the concept of, determination, right? Decision, choices. Now, what are some of I know you talked about the barriers, right? And some of the excuses, but what are some of the key things that we would like to tell people today to avoid, listening to, or getting influenced by? Some things that are really concrete that people usually are listening. I know a few personally, but I want to hear from you, just, like the things that you hear from your folks.
From my clients?
Your clients, yeah.
Yeah, most of it is obviously they're trying to improve themselves, but everyone is different. They have a lot of stories. But the one thing, I'm a certified mental skills coach. I actually help people understand why they think the way they do.
Love it.
No matter what's happened in the past, no matter where they are now, everything has to do with the way they think. So one of the first techniques I tell people is, as soon as you think a negative thought, picture this big red stop sign on the top of your forehead. Okay, just bring that stop sign up. Just stop and use a positive sentence, okay? And use that positive sentence again. And everything is habit. And the more you use that stop sign, the less you're going to say that negative, finish that negative sentence. But you have to want to do it. You have to want to achieve something. You can't just go through the motions and say, well, it didn't work, after a little bit. No, it does work. You just have to work for it. And there's nothing wrong with that, because the more you work for it, the greater your success is going to be. Or if it's a stop sign, if it's not a stop sign, think of a vacuum just going across your forehead and just getting rid of that negative garbage, And again, like I said earlier, you're not going to eliminate every negative thought in your mind. It's just impossible. The goal is to eliminate as much as you can and fill it with positive stuff, positive affirmations. You know what? I am a good person. You know what? I can do this. Okay. I am a good person and I will succeed. And everybody can succeed, but it just comes down to the proper mindset and wanting to succeed. Having that burning desire inside, feeling it, visualizing it. Visualization, that's one of the techniques I use. Visualize it. There was a study done a few years back, I think it was the University of Illinois, and they had the basketball team, and they broke the team up into 3 groups. One group, this had to do with foul shooting. One group did absolutely nothing. They just did their regular routine. The second group did extra foul shooting, okay? And the third group just visualized it when they went to bed, just visualized it. After the study, the first group that did nothing didn't improve at all. The second group that practiced their foul shots improved just a small percentage. But the people that visualized improved their foul shots by 11%. The mindset is an incredible thing, because when you visualize, visualize lifting a weight or, bouncing that basketball, even when you're in bed, your neuromuscular system reacts the same way as if it's actually happening. Visualization techniques are incredible. But again, going back to the mindset, you have to want to do it.
Frank, as you said that, I was laughing because I just went back to your story at the correction facility, right? When you counted to 3, I know you visualized the whole fight.
I visualized it as soon as I walked in and he got upset.
I know. And it's funny. The reason I said, because that's a big thing in martial arts. I mean, when you stand and things are going to get south somehow, you already kind of figure out like all the different angles, what potential moves they're going to do. And it's happening at super speed, and your mind is already like, figuring out. So one move and then you know exactly what's going to happen. And it's amazing and it's accurate. And it's funny because The Last Samurai, I think, was that I think that was the movie with Tom Cruise. And in there's a scene there where he actually visualizes the whole sword fight before it happens. and it happens. Now, obviously that's movie, but that's actually a true concept. You just literally stated, as real as it happens. And it is true. I do the same thing. I visualize things. That's why I say when you want to succeed in something, you got to see that you have that in your hands. It's a cup. I'm holding that cup. I am going to be winning this. I see myself in that podium, thanking people and getting an award. I see myself, getting that success story, happening and being motivating other people. Whatever it is that you said to go, you got to literally see yourself in that role in 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, whatever. I'm going to be there, how it's going to look. You describe it to yourself, you fit it, you almost like, have a nice little cheer up to yourself too, and get ready for it. And right. that makes a big difference. And in everywhere, I have, I've read it in different, books and stuff, but I've heard it in a lot of places and I always believe in it. The more you visualize it, the more, even in like, again, I go to sales. In sales, you need to know that you're going to help that person and you're walking away with that sale, but you're actually not selling them, you're helping them. So I visualize that they're going to be excited about whatever I'm servicing them with. And that's a big deal. So when I go there, I'm enjoying this because I'm not worried about the sale. I'm worried about, I want that feeling that they're going to have at the end. They're getting excited and like, yes, thank you. They hug you like you helped us. You're the best thing that happened to us today. And that's the same thing. Anything that you have in mind, you put it in perspective for you. You put it in front. Like, it's almost like have a hologram, in your mind watching, your little future movie. And that's actually real. And as I'm talking right now, people are probably listening and we do this all the time without even thinking. We talk. And as we're talking, you're talking about the basketball team and I was visualizing them.
Right.
I'm literally just like each one of those group. I'm in my mind. I'm looking at them. I'm seeing the ones that are actually sleeping. I'm seeing the ones that are doing the practice. I'm seeing the ones that are literally thinking about how it's gonna play, and we're doing it, as a third party. But as you do it for yourself, it's even better. So listen. I mean, Frank, we can do this for 2 hours and it's not gonna be enough.
We could.
Yeah, I'm looking at the time, like, damn, it's already like, wow, we passed the hour, but it's all good. Well, listen, are there anything specific that you want to share today? I mean, we've talked about a lot of things, anything that you want to keep, the folks right now watching and listening, really anchor to, and something that they can do today to make a change in their future.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to suggest anything. It depends where each individual is, but I talked about the 3 Ds before: decisions, determined, direction. I talked about your belief system. You can make all the decisions you want. You can believe in yourself all you want, but there's a third component, which is action. In order to achieve anything, you have to take massive action. And think about it. What are the last 6 letters in the word satisfaction? Action. Okay. So you have to put these are the top 3 mental skill techniques that people need to understand before they can achieve anything. So you have to make that committed decision. You have to wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going to start being selfish with with my life and doing what I want. It starts there. Then you have to believe that you can achieve it. And there are techniques, like I talked about, get rid of the negative thinking. Think about your brain as a computer. Delete that negativity. Just put positive stuff in there. But then the final component is taking action. You have to take massive action. Do something every day, no matter how small it is. Write your goals down. Be specific about what you want. It's the journey of doing this is actually incredible. If you're committed to it, it's a great journey. And when you get to the end of that goal, when you complete that goal, that's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's fantastic. So if I could suggest one thing, I would have people really spend a couple of minutes alone. If you're in the car, keep the radio off, or if you're at home, turn the TV off, turn the tablets off, the radio, whatever it is, and think about your life. Think about where you've been and where you'd like to go. And how are you going to do that? How are you going to get there? It starts with that committed decision. But Hurricane, here's the thing. People have such strength and courage within themselves. I've seen it with my clients. You just have to get past that doubt, that uncertainty, because that's all a bunch of garbage. Believe in yourself, follow the techniques, and don't ever quit. Just tell yourself, I'm good enough to get it done. There are thousands of people that have done it. You can do it too. And there's absolutely no reason why you can't do it. And when you get to the end, you're going to look back and go, wow, that was incredible. I went through a lot, but you also learned a lot. But to reach that goal or goals, phenomenal. So I would suggest that everybody start thinking about the way they think and start eliminating all that toxic garbage. And soak it up, that positive stuff, like a sponge. Just soak it up and put it in your brain every morning. When you wake up in the morning, you just say, thank you. This is my day and I will make it happen. And that's it.
I love it. Well, I do want to add one thing that adds up to that point you just made, which is you listen to yourself, you focus, you do all the stuff, but also don't listen to people that are telling you that you can't do it. I think that's another thing, because sometimes we listen to people that may not have your best, your in best interest at heart. You know what I mean? So, don't listen to people that tell you can't do this. The only one that can tell you is you. And I believe that sometimes that influence sometimes puts people really off. Don't worry about people. You just be you.
That's correct. And what I do tell my clients, and that's a great point, and I do say to them, if somebody ever tells you you can't do it, your response should be, watch me. And you just keep pushing forward, because when you get to the end of that pot of gold, they're going to be back there at the starting line. So if somebody says you can't do it, you tell them, watch me.
I'm gonna do this to you. I mean, I don't care about the time. I mean, as long as you have a few minutes for
Yeah,
me.
sure,
So,
sure.
so I give this nice. I don't know if you've probably been on a cruise, right?
No, I have not.
No, you haven't. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is a joke on cruise ships. So they tell you when you go to these islands, whatever, the time of the ship when they leave, you have to, put your time at the ship time. And they always say this, the most expensive picture is, you standing at the dock and the ship is leaving you. So I tell people, for those people that say no, that you can't do it, it's like, don't worry, you're gonna have a very expensive picture watching my ship sail and you actually at the dock.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, it's true, right? I mean, you know what? That's okay. You can stay there. You can wave. You say goodbye, bon voyage. I'm actually gone. The ship is gone. You're not on the ship. I'm out. And to your point, if someone's going to tell you that, that's an indication they're either envious, jealous, or not supportive. Why would you want them in your life? I'm sorry, but that's a And by the way, everybody watching and listening, you probably don't want anybody in life that's going to tell you that you can't do things. Obviously, we want to tell people don't do bad things. Let's be clear about that. But we're talking about things in success mode, something that's going to get you better and better and better. If someone is not really supporting it, well, they're not your true friend. They're not your true family.
Right.
They're not really for you. So why would you even entertain their thoughts? The fact that they're not even supportive to your idea, well, that's a bad idea. What would you do that? Nobody wins. Nobody did that. They can't do this. You know how many people failed that? I don't care what other people did.
That's right.
Let me try. I'm going to do it my way. Let me try. And now, I'm going to learn from their mistakes and potentially come up with new strategies and do this. That's it. But don't let people guide you in that path of negativity or guide you in to make you believe that you're not capable. You said it best. Everyone watching and listening, you got this. You have everything. The humans, are powerful. Humans can do a lot and achieve a lot. You just have to believe that you can. And people did it. You can. Period and out. There's nothing about you. If you think you don't have the education, you're wrong. You can educate yourself. I'm not talking about, you don't have to go to school to educate yourself. That's the other thing. In the world we live in right now, I mean, yes, I'm not against education, as a form of education, but I'm saying people sometimes is like, oh, I never went to school. I didn't finish my schooling. Dude, I mean, you Google everything today. You can literally learn, every skill you want, without having a certificate. But that makes you not at a certain point. You just want to succeed. If you set your path, you can still do it. Learn it. Education and intelligence, two different things, right? And so if everybody's intelligent. We all have intelligence, so we just have to develop it, and you can absorb a lot of stuff to help you get it. So don't feel that that's a big handicap. And if you want a formal education, go for it. There's nothing to stop you. This is one country where you can go to school any given day. No one's going to stop you. They actually welcome you. Come in, pay the fee, and go in. Do your thing. So you can do this. There are businesses and jobs that will pay you tuition for it. So there's I say this, for example, in my world of insurance sales, we hire people with high school, but they have to have a state license. That state license is just as valuable as any other education, because it gives them a whole industry to operate in and make tremendous money. Now, obviously, you want to have a higher education because you want to expand your horizons within that industry and go to the next level and senior management, whatever. But that's a choice. But at the end of the day, you can do it. I've seen people go from zero experience, zero nothing, to like the success of their life, and plenty of examples out there. So again, I'm sorry, I kind of almost digressed there, but the idea is really don't let people tell you can't do it. And those are the worst people that you can surround. Move yourself from them, get yourself out of that equation, and have your own.
That's correct. Right.
Well, listen, I didn't want to have the last word, so I still
No, that's okay.
I apologize for that, but it's just like it irks me because I know that's a big pitfall that people kind of like sometimes get stuck in, and my family, they know me best. No, if they can't support your ideas, it's wrong. So anyways, I rest my case there.
Yeah. Also too, we talk about belief and confidence. 1 million people can believe in you, but if you don't believe in yourself, those 1 million people don't matter. Okay. It comes down to you believing in who you are and what you're capable of achieving. Just believe in yourself. Don't ever quit on yourself.
That's it. I'm not saying that's it. That's it. Frank, it has been real. It was a great time. I mean, I am so excited right now. I'm just gonna go pumping right now.
Yeah.
I think everybody that's gonna hear or watch this thing, they're gonna be like, yes, that's what I was waiting for. And believe it or not, we're gonna change, some lives eventually with this. So thank you for
I hope we do. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure talking with you.
No, no. I mean, the pleasure is mine and the honor is mine. So thank you. That being said, folks, thank you for being with us today. I hope we enjoyed the show and definitely take some good vibes here. We'll be talking soon. Different show, different guest, different topic. Ciao for now. Bye.